The car was too clean to ignore. Jet black, chrome trim, custom plates that hinted at old money but gave nothing away. It slid up the semicircular drive of the Wilshire Grand at a crawl, as if it didn't need to announce itself. It already knew people would notice. They did. A valet adjusted his jacket and stepped forward, ready, then stopped. The driver's window rolled down, slowly. She was younger than he expected, maybe early 30s. Hoodie, no makeup, hair tied back, a single keyring in her lap, and a quiet look on her face like she knew this dance too well. "You looking for someone?" the valet asked, already glancing past her to the passenger seat. "Empty." "No," she said. He hesitated. "You here for a pickup or delivery?" "Neither." The pause stretched. Then she added, without changing her tone, "I'm checking in." Another pause, longer this time. The valet blinked, looked at the car again, then back at her. "Oh," he said. "Just pulling in for someone else?" She didn't answer, just put the car in park, and got out. She stepped onto the curb like it wasn't a moment, but it was, not for her, but for everyone else. The doorman, mid-50s, polished and polite, adjusted his stance. Behind him a bellhop froze mid-stride. Neither stepped forward. No one reached for her bag, because she didn't have one. Just a slim black backpack slung over one shoulder, worn at the seam. Her hoodie was plain, no logo. Her sneakers were spotless, but looked like she'd walked in them, not posed. She didn't rush. She didn't explain. She just walked past them and into the lobby. The front desk was flanked by marble columns and fresh orchids. A line of guests stood waiting, some in suits, some in designer gymwear. She took her place like she belonged. Behind the desk, the clerk glanced up, then down again at his screen, then up again, a little slower this time. "Can I help you?" he asked, voice polite but cautious. "I have a reservation," she said. "Name?" "Amara Cole." He typed, slower than he needed to. His eyes flicked up once, then back to the screen. "May I see your ID?" he asked. She handed it over without a word. California license, valid. Her photo, her name. He took longer than necessary to check it. Behind her, a man in a blazer whispered something to his wife. She didn't hear it. She didn't need to. She'd heard the same thing before, different words, same tone. The clerk finally nodded. "Okay, Miss Cole," he said, clearing his throat. "It says here, Penthouse Suite?" She nodded once. Another pause. Then a smile, tight, uncertain. "I'll have to get a manager," he said. She didn't blink. "Go ahead." He didn't run, but he moved fast. The front desk clerk disappeared through the side door, past the floral arrangements and wall of polished keys. Amara stayed where she was, calm, not patient, just steady, like she'd been through this script enough times to know which lines were coming next. Behind her, the line had grown. A woman in heels shifted her weight and sighed. A man in golf gear looked annoyed but curious. No one said anything directly, just glances, just that quiet hum of suspicion wrapped in politeness. Then the manager appeared. Khaki suit, crisp shirt, smile already in place. Too wide, too rehearsed. He approached quickly, offering his hand before he even reached the desk. "Miss Cole, is it?" he asked. She didn't take his hand. "Yes." He pulled back smoothly, pivoting to the screen. "We just wanted to confirm a few details about your booking." "I booked the Penthouse for 3 nights, she said. "Confirmation numbers on file, paid in advance." "Yes, of course," he said quickly. "It's just—" He stopped, because what he was about to say wouldn't sound right out loud. It never did. So instead, he tried something safer. "We typically see bookings like this through corporate accounts or premium partners. May I ask how you made the reservation?" She looked at him, just long enough to make him uncomfortable. "Online," she said. "Of course," he repeated. Silence. He typed something, anything, to make it look like he had a reason to be standing there. Then finally, quietly, he said, "Your suite is ready." She didn't thank him, didn't smile, just waited for the key. He handed her the key card with both hands, like that might make the gesture seem more respectful. "Penthouse floor," he said. "Room 3801. Elevators are just around the corner. Shall I have someone escort you up?" "No," Amara said, slipping the key into her pocket. "I'll find it." He nodded, stepping back. The clerk behind him looked away, pretending to adjust something on the screen. Behind her, no one in line spoke, but they all stared, some openly, others through the corners of their eyes. Everyone trying to figure it out. The woman in heels whispered again, this time too low to catch. Amara turned, not to respond, just to look. Her eyes swept over the lobby, the stairs, the silence, the assumption. Then she walked, through the crowd, past the front desk, toward the elevator bay with the same calm rhythm she'd had since the curb. A bellhop took a step forward, then thought better of it. She didn't need directions. She knew the layout better than most. The elevator dinged. She stepped in alone. As the doors closed, she didn't look back. The silence she left behind wasn't confusion anymore. It was discomfort. She tapped the card. The button for the top floor lit up. As the elevator rose, she stood still, backpack resting against one shoulder, hands in her pockets. The mirrors around her reflected a version of herself she was used to seeing. Understated, quiet, underestimated. She didn't mind. She preferred it. The numbers climbed. 10, 15, 20. At 25, the elevator paused. A man in a blazer stepped in, glanced at her, then at the lit panel. "Penthouse?" he asked, surprised. She didn't answer. He smiled like he thought he was being friendly. "You a personal assistant? Somebody famous up there?" She looked at him, not annoyed, just tired. "No," she said. He chuckled. "Right, I hear that." The ride continued in silence. At 38, the elevator stopped. The doors opened. She stepped out first. He stayed behind. Didn't follow. Not because she told him not to, because something about her silence made him second-guess himself. She walked to the door at the end of the hall. No hesitation. Slid the card in. Green light. Click. She opened the door, stepped inside, and shut it quietly behind her. Floor-to-ceiling windows greeted her. Sunlight poured in, casting long shadows across the hardwood floor and minimalist decor. Neutral tones, soft light. The kind of space designed to impress people who think money needs to shine. She dropped her backpack on the side table, took off her hoodie. Underneath, a plain black t-shirt. No jewelry, no brand logos, just her. She didn't look around like someone seeing it for the first time. She'd stayed here before, more than once. Amara walked over to the window, looking down at the city. The streets looked small from up here. People, cars, noise, all distant. She tapped her phone and opened her calendar. Meetings lined up back to back. 3 days of investor reviews, partner lunches, late-night calls with overseas teams. This wasn't a vacation. There was a knock at the door. She didn't move at first, then walked over and opened it. A hotel staff member stood there, holding a tray, bottle of still water, fresh towel, and a handwritten note. "Compliments of the hotel, Miss Cole," he said. She took the tray without a word, closed the door softly, set it on the table. The note read, "Apologies for the confusion at check-in. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to make your stay more comfortable." No signature. She didn't smile, didn't crumple it either, just folded it once, and set it aside. Downstairs, the story had already started spreading. Not officially, no one would admit to gossiping, but the version changed slightly with every telling. By the lobby bar, someone said she was a private driver staying on behalf of a client. Near the front desk, another insisted she was a pop star's assistant. A third claimed she might be someone's cousin who booked the wrong suite. No one guessed the truth. They rarely did. The clerk from earlier leaned over to the manager. "Should we double-check the reservation system?" "She's paid," the manager said, not looking up. "More than most. Leave it alone." Still, he couldn't help it. He opened the hotel's guest profile system. Her name lit up. Platinum tier. 7 prior stays. No complaints. No special requests. Just consistent. Quiet. High value. He sat back in his chair. The valet, now off shift, was telling someone at the staff lockers, "She drove that AMG coupe, had custom tint, no rental sticker, it was hers." That changed the tone. Now they weren't mocking. They were curious, but not bold enough to ask her, just bold enough to wonder how someone like that ended up with something like this. The next morning, the conference room on the 35th floor was prepped by 8 a.m. glass walls, polished wood table, notebooks, water bottles, and screens already synced to the presentation deck. 3 men in tailored suits stood near the window, all visiting from venture firms, East Coast, well-connected, used to being treated like gravity in the room. One of them checked his watch. "Who's leading this?" Another replied, "Some Cole woman, CEO of the fintech group we're Cole," the first repeated, flipping through his packet. "Haven't met her yet. She in the room?" No one answered. Amara walked in 2 minutes later. Hoodie swapped for a dark blazer over the same plain black tee. No makeup. Same calm walk. She set her laptop down at the head of the table. They paused. You could see it. That split-second recalibration. No one stood. No one greeted her like a peer. They just waited, as if she might introduce the real executive any second now. She opened her laptop. Clicked. The screen behind her flicked on. Quarterly metrics. Market position. Growth rate. "Let's get started," she said. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. She walked them through the numbers, line by line, question by question. No flash, no filler, just data, strategy, results. 15 minutes in, the room was different. The questions changed. At first they were basic. Tests, really. Seeing what she knew. Fishing for gaps. But she didn't miss. She answered everyone without blinking, without checking notes. Corrected them, once or twice. Gently, but directly. One man adjusted his chair. Another scribbled something down that had nothing to do with the slides. By the 30-minute mark, they stopped talking over. She wasn't just the smartest in the room, she was the reason the room existed. One of them leaned forward, folding his hands. "Sorry," he said. "I don't think I caught your title." Amara didn't look up from the chart she was adjusting. "I'm the founder and CEO." Silence, then a quiet nod. No one questioned it, not anymore, because now they knew, and they were wondering how they'd missed it. The meeting ended with tight handshakes and overly warm compliments. "Impressive deck. Great vision. Looking forward to next steps." She nodded politely. No ego, no extra words. She'd seen that tone before. Respect that arrived late always tried to make up for. As the suits filed out, she gathered her laptop. One of them lingered at the door. "You've got a hell of a mind. Didn't expect that when you walked in, honestly." She looked at him, didn't smile. "Most don't," she replied. He winced. Just a flicker. "Unfair world," he offered. She gave a small shrug. "Only if you let it be." Then walked past him, out into the hallway, down past the glass offices and catered lunch trays. An intern at the far end of the corridor stood a little straighter as she passed, watched her go, said nothing. But you could see it in her face. She'd remember this moment, not because of the suit Amara wasn't wearing, but because of who she was without needing one. Back in the suite, sunlight streamed in as Amara sat by the window, shoes off, laptop open. She answered a call on the second ring. "Hey," the voice said. It was Carla, her COO, still in New York. "Meeting's done," Amara said. "How'd they play it?" "Like they were doing me a favor, then like they regretted assuming that." Carla chuckled. "Every time." Amara leaned back. "They'll be on board, but it's not about them. It's about what comes next." "You want me to push the PR angle?" "No," Amara said, calm. "No headlines, no statement." Carla didn't argue. She understood. It wasn't about proving a point to the public. It was about proving to the quiet ones in the room that power doesn't always show up wearing what they expect. They talked strategy for a few more minutes, markets, timing, rollout. Then Amara hung up. No exhale of relief, no celebration, just quiet focus. She closed the laptop and looked out over the city again, still calm, still underestimated by people who didn't know better. By late afternoon, Amara came down from the suite. No blazer this time, just her hoodie again, same black backpack. She moved through the lobby without hesitation, weaving past tourists, conference attendees, and bellhops. She stopped at the front desk, not to complain, not to escalate, just to ask a simple question about checkout time. The same clerk from before was there. He recognized her instantly. This time, he stood a little straighter. "Good afternoon, Miss Cole," he said quickly. "Was everything in your room to your satisfaction?" "It was," she replied. "Thanks." He nodded quickly. "Is there anything else we can assist you with during your stay?" She looked at him for a beat too long. Not unkindly, just long enough for him to feel it. "No," she said. "I'm good." Then she walked away. He watched her go, said nothing. But in his chest, something twisted. Not because he'd been caught, but because he had to sit with the fact that he'd needed the title, the suite, the respect of others to offer basic decency. He hadn't seen her before. Now he couldn't unsee her. Near the elevator, a bellhop was pushing a cart of luggage when Amara passed. Young, maybe 19. He hesitated, then turned. "Ma'am?" he said, voice unsure. She stopped. He started, then lowered his voice. "I saw what happened yesterday with the valet, the desk." She waited. "I just wanted to say it wasn't right." She tilted her head slightly. "What part?" He flushed. "All of it. How they looked at you, how they treated you." Amara nodded once. "It happens." "Yeah, but it shouldn't." He looked like he wanted to say more, then just said, "I hope I don't act like that, even without meaning to." That made her pause. She looked at him differently now. "You stopped to say something," she said. "That's more than most." He looked down at his shoes, embarrassed. Then quietly, "My sister's trying to get into tech. She doesn't see people who look like her running stuff. Until now." Amara's expression didn't soften, but her voice did. "Tell her to keep going." "I will," he said. He stood a little taller after that. She pressed the elevator button. The elevator doors opened. She stepped inside alone again. No suits, no briefcase, just her. As the doors slid shut, she looked ahead, expression unreadable, calm as ever. The ride down was quiet. She didn't check her phone, didn't glance at the mirrors, just stood still. Somewhere between the 20th and 10th floor, the elevator stopped. A woman stepped in. Business casual, tired eyes. Hotel name tag. Probably mid-level management. She recognized Amara instantly. "Oh," she said, blinking. "Miss Cole, I didn't realize you weren't supposed to," Amara said, not unkindly. The woman nodded slowly, processing more than just the word. "I hope," she began, choosing carefully. That your next stay starts better than this one did. Amara didn't answer right away. Then, that depends on what? Whether this one changes anything. The elevator continued its descent. The woman said nothing else, but she didn't look away either. The car was waiting out front. Same one. Still spotless. Still hers. This time, no one hesitated. The valet jogged to the door, opened it without delay, nodded without assumption. Not from fear, but from awareness. She slid into the driver's seat, started the engine. No dramatic exit. No last word. Just the quiet sound of respect finding its place too late. Across the drive, the manager stood inside the lobby, watching her pull away. The same man who'd needed confirmation, who'd typed slowly, who'd measured her against something invisible. He saw her now, but she wasn't looking back. On the sidewalk, the young bellhop watched too, this time with something else in his eyes. Not curiosity, but recognition. Because she hadn't come here to prove who she was. She came to see who they were when they thought she was nobody. And now that they knew better, they would carry the weight of that moment long after she was gone. Not because she demanded it, but because they had to.